All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. If people trickle in, then, we'll go ahead and get started. Well, first of all, thank you everyone for joining. We do have commemorative buttons. That'll be, yeah. It's some people say, you're joking too much about the situation, but to be honest, it's a little bit funny, like the ridiculousness of the reasons. When they first announced my censure and they went on and spoke for 20 minutes, and they listed all these accusations, and I'm like, some of them sounded pretty bad, but then I'm like, they're not based on facts. So when the censure notice came out, and it did not have any of the things that they listed on there, they came up with new stuff. So the things on my censure, a lot of them happened after the date. We all know what this is really about. There's a lot of political motivation behind a lot of this stuff. They don't like the messaging. They don't like the way I message. They don't like the way I interact with people. But anyways, you guys you've probably seen most of my videos. It takes a woman to do it. Margaret can help.
Maybe not that woman.
No. I know, the video's there, but it's fine.
Yeah,
They were accusing me of worse. But anyways, no, I appreciate everyone coming here, and like I said, part of I think their fear is that the community is getting educated and people are paying attention. And trust me, it warms my heart to see people who have never engaged in government starting to pay attention. And what Protect Salinas Renters did of collecting 10,000 signatures, that's historic. And not only because of all the hundreds of volunteers, but social media and the way that you communicate with people really played a factor in that. And that's really what I think they're afraid of, is that more information will get out. And to be honest, on the October 28th, when they started proposing the censure, I went home and I'm like, oh my goodness, I really stepped in it. And for about 5 days or 7 days, I stopped posting everything. 6 days. I stopped posting because I thought, oh my God, I'm in trouble. And then of course it was my wife who said, what are you doing? You didn't do anything wrong. You need to keep informing the community. You need to keep going. And so it's big props to my wife.
Actually, I was meaner.
She was meaner than that.
It's a good thing you listened.
It's a good thing I listened, yeah. So, but anyways, that's a little bit of history about that, just so you all know, and I'll share some of these things tomorrow. Before they actually went forward with the censure, the city thought it would be a good idea for me to sit down with Margaret Diorigo and Jose Barajas to see if we could talk it out or do an alternate to the censure. Of course, I'll have a conversation. And they outlined their concerns, and Jose Barajas said, for me, it's really important that you acknowledge you did something inappropriate and that you stop. And so I listened to him. Margaret said, I can't sleep because of your social media videos and I just need them to stop. And then Jose Barajas said, Andrew, I go to conferences across the state and they don't want to talk to me about economic development or what I'm doing in Salinas. All they want to know is how is it to work with Andrew. And I said, I can't help you with that. I can't help you with that. That's your own problem. And then they said, well, if we just stop. And I said, I could apologize, but it won't be real. And I can commit to being more respectful, but then what is the gauge of what is respectful? And so then I said, I don't want to lie to you and say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. And then, Margaret said, well, I just don't like the little emojis that you use and the caricatures and how you're on repeat. And I'm listening. I'm trying not to be rude to them. That this is what we're discussing, right? Emojis and caricatures. And then I go, my mom spoke to me about one of my videos I did where I gave Salazar a big pointy nose. And then I go, okay, my mom scolded me on that one. She said, okay, maybe don't give people a pointy nose. And I said, maybe I won't do that in the future. Maybe that one. And then Margaret Diorigo is sitting right there. And she starts laughing. And she says, oh yeah, I remember that one. That was funny. And then I'm thinking,
So you're
if you're so upset with all of this stuff, how could you be laughing at some of the videos yourself?
You can sleep over that.
So I, at the end of the meeting, I just said, look, I wish I could help you with some of these things, but I don't want to be disingenuous. And so then Margaret said, so if your social media is not going to stop, then we need to censure you. And I try to explain to her that censures in the past have not been, they've been for actual like egregious violations, not just social media. And so she said, and Jose, he was just sitting there, and honestly, I think he was looking for a way out of the censure. I do think so. I looked at him, you know, I'm a dad, so, hey! I looked at him and I felt bad for him, like, you know, what are we doing? But at the end of the day, they decided to proceed with the censure. So here we are. So I appreciate everyone coming here. I reviewed the accusations. As you've all seen, mostly my social media videos, you'll see that most of them have to do with the rent stabilization issues. Most of the videos they cited have to do with the rent stabilization issue. I've asked for evidence other than my videos. I've asked for questions. They have not produced anything. They have not answered me. I asked the mayor to meet with me about the issues. He has not answered me. He has not met with me. He has not met with me. So here we are. So tomorrow, the censure will happen. You know, part of me said, I don't think they're going to go through with it because this makes them look really bad. Not only does it make them look really bad, it makes our city look really bad. And people who do not support me on any of my policy issues on this censure, they're speaking up because they know that it's wrong. So that's kind of what we're here to discuss. So first, are there any questions about any of that?
What time is it going to be tomorrow?
It starts at 6 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me exactly what the censor means? I mean, they cannot, in my opinion, they cannot make you not speak to the public. That is unbelievable to me that they can think that they can make you stop. But what exactly legally can they do if you continue talking to people?
Nothing.
Okay, that's what I thought.
They can do nothing. What it's going to be used for is political messaging for the candidate that they endorsed. They're going to say, you know, in 20 years, only 2 council members have been censured, and then they're going to put an ugly picture of me, probably when I was a little chubbier, and make me look bad. And they're going to spend a lot of money on that stuff. But they cannot do anything. Sometimes they can remove you from committees that you serve. The mayor has already done that to 2 of the committees that I serve on without any explanation. He just said, I heard things. And I said, well, what things did you hear? And he wouldn't tell me. So nothing that I'm aware of they can actually do. And you know, there's people who, like I said, don't support me traditionally, and they're like, you're the only council member who speaks to us, who responds to us, who comments back. And so, but they can't do nothing. They'll probably do, what I figure they're gonna do is they're gonna probably keep censoring me. I don't know, maybe. I think that this is like, I was talking to Keisha, it's kind of like a disciplinary notice. We think you broke the rules and this is our opinion.
By telling the truth, right? Because you're telling the
Yes.
truth. That's what it is.
Well, they don't like the way I tell the truth, is what it is.
Because it's not their truth.
They're telling
that's
police.
And I told my wife, I think my wife told me, maybe you should say, instead of them lying, they're fibbing. You know, don't be a fibber. I mean,
Or
you know.
deceiver.
But anyways, there's no repercussions. But it is, you know, it's going to be down in history, and they're going to be able to message this stuff. That's what it is. Question?
Okay, like I told you on the phone, you told me, Andrew, that they're saying you're not, but what you're doing on social media, you're hindering progress for the city, and that's simply not true. And what I'm going to say is that, you know, about a month ago, a young man was murdered, a student at Elsa High School. I see more homeless people each and every day that are hungry and homeless. And we have a traffic problem similar to like LA. If I drive all over town delivering pizza, and I've never seen the traffic this bad, and there's no reason for it. So we have traffic problems, we have housing problems where people are no longer in their home, and the city has not done much in terms of building little homes like other towns have done. And you have a young kid that was murdered before the Christmas break. He was 14 years old. And, you know, these are more issues. These are more important things to tackle than someone criticizing you. When I was a trustee at Hartnell College, for example, I got no really positive press. People came after me almost every meeting I had. Now, did I like it? No. Did I cry about it? No. I didn't cry about it like these people are.
Yeah.
They're weak people. Okay?
You know, part of it, Bill,
Salespeople.
part of it is, you know, I was talking to Keisha and you know, I have 24 minutes to speak, which is a long time. But part of it is talking about leadership. If the city council really wanted to focus on some of these issues and they had the ganas, the drive to actually start tackling these issues and be persistent on them, then we could make progress if there was true leadership.
Yeah, yeah.
If they want to pick an issue like traffic, but there has, so somebody laughed at me today, one of my residents. I told her, you know, I was optimistic that they would come in and they would have some drive to impact change on some issue, pick an issue.
Right, right.
And I was waiting for it, and it has never come. They've all said things, even the mayor has said they want to do this, but when it comes down to it, and they experience any resistance, then they just stop.
Right.
So when people say, you know what, you're being ineffective, you're not, this is my question for them. Give me an example. Jose Barajas said I cost the city $1 million in lost funding.
For what?
Well, actually, it's not true.
Yeah.
There's no evidence. So I emailed them all and I said, give me the evidence for your accusation. Silence.
Yeah.
But in the society we have now, people are afraid to have real conversations. I mean, so it's just a giant waste of time. I have a list of pending agenda items from all the council members that they've all requested. And they've been able to push any of those. The biggest ones that they pushed is the repeal of rent stabilization.
Right.
My censure, and I know Barajas is trying to push for an arch.
Another one?
Like, you know, like those are their priorities.
The Alisal.
Where's
The Alcel Arch.
Where's it? Okay.
But what I'm saying is, they have not pushed these issues. So, you know, I mean, there are important issues. We're talking about Measure G, which is something that funds our community, like coming up to the ballot. It should be in 2026, in my opinion. We have issues like that. We have an initiative I proposed, which is a tax on ag. There's a lot of issues. So, but what I feel, I think that they feel a little bit inadequate to be able to be successful or push their stuff. But anyways, I want to keep us focused. Does anybody else have any
How long
questions?
is this gonna take, the censor of you tomorrow, where it's keeping away from the real issues? Instead
Well-
of, that's our concern too.
Well, I don't know how much staff time it's taken. I don't know if staff is the one counting all my social media posts or reviewing them or drafting all this stuff. It's the last item on the agenda. It's at 6 p.m. Typically, we probably have 3 or 4 more items on the agenda to discuss, whatever the case may be. This one, we have a very light agenda, and it starts at 6 p.m. The council members will be each given 4 minutes to make their comments. I will be given 24 minutes, and I don't know how long public comment period will end. And then there'll be a motion and a second, and then it'll be. But just to let you guys all know, I reviewed it's taken me a while because obviously I have to review everything myself. But the first item on the censure is that I called Salazar a mentiroso.
What's that mean?
He means a liar. Because he was lying about rent stabilization and that people won't use their rights.
Well, if it's true, why?
But
it's true.
just know, I wanted to fact check it because that's important.
Right.
So I looked at the date of the video, it did not happen. It was actually another date. I looked at the second accusation where they said a comment about Margaret DeRigo that I posted a video. That date was in 2024. She wasn't even in office in 2024. And so they went on to add all these things. I'll give you an example. The city logo, they say I wear the city shirt.
So if the dates are not correct, don't they already have to remove that?
So I sent them a notice to correct it, because at least if you're gonna get me for something, at least put the right dates.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so they know the dates are wrong because they weren't even in office in 2024. And by the way, the city shirt, sometimes I wear it because it's an easy outfit, but to wear it. But I've never received a notice from the city attorney or the city manager. So all the findings, although they appear to you like he did this and he broke this. Those are not findings. Those are just whoever drafted it, the Barajas and ran it. they're not real, the accusation, and that's my frustration is, if you, like, one of them is, I made a funny video because I got up to make a phone call to answer, talk to my wife. They get up from the dais all the time.
Yeah, they leave early.
They leave early, they go to the bathroom. As a matter of fact, you know, I was gonna be petty the last council meeting when we voted to increase the police pay. But Councilmember Barajas got up when we started talking about a $3 million raise for the police. But people gotta go to the bathroom, but that's, you know, like, come on. So some of these things, I'm just like, you could have come up with something a little better, but we know what it is, but, yeah. So that's basically
They
it.
feel threatened.
Yeah, so, you know, I'm committed to continue. I'm very proud.
You're not playing the game, Andrew, you're not playing the game.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, you know, one of my residents called and said, well, Andrew, they're telling me that you're ineffective. And I said, well, ask them what? What am I ineffective? They say you can't pass this. Tell me what? And I told them, at the end of the day, they're gonna support whatever is convenient for them, their donors, and their supporters.
That's it.
And maybe the community sometimes.
No.
But that's what they're
No,
gonna do.
They don't care about the community.
They're not, if I was nicer to them, or if I stopped posting, are they gonna support me on some issue that doesn't benefit their donors?
No,
No. So that's kind of,
they don't
Well,
care.
that's, to me, that's what it's all about. Worldwide, less than 1% of the rich people control 95% of the wealth. And for them to have that type of control is an atrocity. And I think that's what's happening here. I mean, they control most of the income in Salinas. So I am more interested in finding out if it's doable for the citizens of Salinas to sue the city council for what they are doing. And I would be willing to spend time and effort on doing that.
Right?
well, what it comes down to is this, and this is not the purpose of the meeting, but the reality is the election is coming up this year. It's a chance to flip 4 seats on the city council. I mean, I've heard people say that they want to recall some of these folks.
If we get an election.
Yeah, there's some folks that want to recall these folks. Well, it wouldn't take that much. We collected 10,000 signatures in 28 days.
Right?
You need to collect 2,000 per council member, and you have 90 days. But that's if the people, those residents of their district want it, right? And but anyways,
We all have families in those different locations, you know, I'm with Barajas,
That's
that's
true.
my thing, I hate that, he's my guy there. But, do you have access to can kids in high school, get hours from you for volunteering, going to doors?
Yes.
They did that back when Barajas, people were going to my door, oh, Mr. Barajas is this, even for, Kimberly Craig when she was there.
Yes.
Have people in check, because I think that's where it needs to start, if we get into the youth that are, you know, they're gonna know what's going on, and open their eyes, and this affects them, even with living. I have 2 nieces living in my house because they can't afford none of the rents. So that's a reality, I go, you guys are not getting your fair chance because of, you know, 4 or 5 Taylor farms, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
stuff like that, let's get that message out there, and I mean.
yeah, and that's part of this, what this is that we have access to youth, you know, youth want to be, but what sometimes is missing is people to help facilitate, you know, a youth that, you know, go out there and be there with the youth, the logistics. But we do have access to youth, and they want to volunteer, and they want to learn. So part of my goal for this year is to get people involved, so maybe you'll volunteer a day and say, you know what, this
Yes.
Friday, I can, you know, everyone meet me on this corner, and then we can go distribute these flyers.
Flyers, yeah.
And so that's part of what this is we have to start building that capacity amongst us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my thing is that the power of the people is more powerful than the people in power.
Yeah.
So, but for that, we need a lot of strategies and a lot of
Alex
ways,
Ayala just.
a lot of ways,
with
excuse me, I'm
300
not finished yet. And a lot of ways to communicate with the voting population. So I am willing to spend time to contact the voters to see if we can censor them as a community, as voters. Because it's really, really annoying I mean, the truth will set us free.
Right.
And if we can't trust the truth, who can we trust?
Yeah, and so those efforts, I mean, yes.
Let me just say real quick, I think, I'm sure it's come to everyone's mind or everyone's attention. The people who are the large donors to some of the councilmen that are on here, don't think that they won't look for somebody else to silence the one person that is in touch with us or has been transparent with us. They will. They want a uniformed party to vote the way the donors are presenting themselves to the council. You know, I'm almost positive any day now we're gonna hear about someone running for District 5. And the reality is that Andrew doesn't have the big pockets that these other folks do, but what he does have is the community. What he does have is the grassroots, the old-fashioned, talk to your people, get the message out there, get people involved. And that's where you guys come in.
Just with my guy that I wanted, Alex Ayala, you know, it was 300 votes difference between him and Jose Luis, you know, so I know that, I mean, he said himself, I did all I could, and he went out there knocking doors, but it was only those 300, so that's not much. We can flip also seats without money, without big money. We just gotta be.
That we just have to all be on the same
Yeah,
page.
Alex, he financed his own, he said on things,
Yeah.
he financed his own campaign.
Yeah, yeah, it can be done, we just need people power. And there are, and we just have to be able to facilitate that.
That's the fear. His outreach through social media is something they're not utilizing. And they don't want to jump on board with it, you know? But you can see the city starting to utilize social media to get the message out. You see our city manager on there, you'll see them doing updates about what the city council is talking about or agenda items that are coming up. But it all started there with him. And so, again, moving back to what I was saying before, we have to somehow unite the community, just like we did with rental stabilization, to rally for Andrew.
And make people aware that they are experts in character assassinating people that don't.
Absolutely.
So and that's where, because I got a call from one of my friends, and she started saying something about, Andrew. And I said, wait, stop. You have no idea what you're talking about, because what you have heard of Andrew is not the truth. It's all character assassination tactics. So and that's why we have to go back to the community and talk to the community and let them know how they operate. Because how they operate is not fair, equal, or just. They base everything on the power that they think they have because of the money.
Right.
But money is important, yes, but it's not everything. So we're gonna have to go knocking on doors and tell them exactly what the city council is really doing, and convince them that we need your assistance, we need your help, we need your vote.
Yeah, so my ask is, for those that, one, of course, we want people to make public comment, but even people there, so the council has to make these decisions in front of as many people as possible. If you've never made a public comment, it's a good opportunity. You can also do it via Zoom. Sharing posts, I appreciate, a lot of the comments and sharing. It helps out quite a bit, and I think that's their biggest fear, is more word getting out. It's gonna be an awkward ask, but in the future, we're gonna start raising money for the campaign, because part of the way I communicate with my residents is, for example, I pay for a text service, so I'm texting 2,000 residents every time I have a big event or something going on, things like that. But just helping spread the word. This year is gonna be bigger than just my election. It's really a chance to flip the council. It's really a chance to flip the council. And so I think we can, I know we can do it. We just need enough people with enough energy.
Say such a gathering, say in July we have a rodeo. Can I be out there helping you with your campaign already?
Yes.
Flyers?
Yes,
That's, get the big events that would
Absolutely.
be here, so that would be
Yeah.
a good idea, and we just get out there and pass them out.
Yeah, and on upcoming on the 22nd, I don't have a location yet, but I'm gonna be starting organizing my campaign. So it's gonna be the 22nd, so I'll have a meeting in the evening. If people wanna get involved, that way we can start finding out what people's interests are. But we'll start that on the 22nd, so I'll send you guys the invite.
So you, Andrew, you know me, I speak regarding the homeless community.
Right.
You know, I just feel it's, you know, talking about your shirt, that you're wearing the city shirt, they shouldn't even be able to wear those city council shirts because they're not doing anything for the community. You know, there's a lot of homeless people dying out here, and what are they doing except for taking their property and having to move? And I try to tell everybody too, just because you don't see people where they used to be, doesn't mean they're doing their job. It's because they're just moving them around like cattle. You know, and it's getting worse and worse out there. You used to complain about the tent, some people just have tarps. They're just out there with the tarps, and it's been raining and everything. I mean, it's so sad. Like, I used to be out there in the street, and nobody likes being out there. I was homeless myself. I got a job, I got my apartment and everything. But we need support, like I always say, from our city, you know, because all they hear is what the city says, what the police say, what the news says, and which we know the news don't tell the truth. They only say what the council wants them to. You know, I have my issues with my son, and what's going on and everything, so I know exactly how our city runs with that, and policing. You know, so I'm just saying, I myself really appreciate everything you do for the fact that you speak the truth, and that's what we need, is more people to be about the people. People voted for them to be there, and they're not doing what they're supposed to. They're more about the money. They put money before people. And again, more people are becoming homeless because they can't pay the rent. It's hard, expensive. She's got an apartment and they don't even want her there because they say she has a little bit too much stuff. Who are they to say what people could have and the way they have to live?
And you know, the sad thing is that my colleague Jose Barajas wanted to close the China Navigation Center. Or he said, if we don't close, let's move it to District 5 or District 2. And I thought to myself, first of all, that's not a good financial decision because it's already expensive to maintain it, but you want to close it down?
Two, how much does it cost to put the sheriff center there?
Yes.
I mean,
So one of my biggest, you know, I have a list of things that it's on my heart that we have not been able to bring forward to the city council. And one of them was, we almost had it on the agenda, but I think Mayor Kimberly Craig pulled it, was something called the sanctioned encampment. Is to do a trial sanctioned encampment and a tiny home village. And these things that are tangible and that are lower cost than spending our money
on the streets.
just throwing $1.4 million away,
Yep.
getting people's stuff and throwing it away.
That's right.
And so we never had that discussion. I promised Wes, and it was on the agenda, and we checked it, and then they pulled it.
Yeah, I've drawn up stuff to show how an organized campsite would be, how it could be run,
Leave.
and easier for them to locate the people that they were helping
So
or
those-
trying to help.
Those issues, they're just sitting there, and that has to do with my colleagues' inability to push items on the agenda forward, or maybe they stop them. We still don't have a clear process, but that's one of the things that I'm like,
It's because it's not important to them, that's why.
well, then it should be a financial decision for them. If it's not gonna be from their heart, then it's a better financial decision. Then say, hey, guess what, you're not gonna be bleeding money over here if they're not caring about people. So some of those things can be done, but that's just, I don't know.
People could hang a tarp over that arch and sleep under there. And
So what's, how would you, because I walk my dog in that Creek Bridge area by the campus thing, by the Jehovah's Witness temple thing. And somebody reached out to me, and I mean, this gentleman was in his 30s, sober and everything, you know, because people always have that thing, oh, he's on drugs, he's on that, that's why he wants to be homeless. I go, no, he
Nobody
really
wants to
doesn't.
be,
So
maybe
how
there's
is-
some, but not everybody.
Not a lot of people.
I was homeless myself, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's
and if
not
I go, if
everybody.
I was homeless, you know, I would want to drink. I would just to forget my reality. You know, so why people, as long as you're not harming anybody, I think let them do what they do to survive. How would I be able to help this gentleman?
What was he asking you for?
Housing. Is there any housing? You know, I want to go to the city council and see what they offer. Where, you know, where can I get you know, where help just to spend.
Because they do send outreach workers out there, but those things is not part of their thing. It's just to make, can't list people's names, but you can't sign up for programs. But there's just so much people that need that there's not enough programs to go around for everybody.
Financial.
Yeah, and that's why, Bobby?
I know. Yeah, before we, because the thing is that I like to kind of listen and see overall what's going on. I'm hearing, you know, a certain situation, but I just wanted to make sure that that if it's possible, we can keep what's the whole purpose of this meeting and everything, and not get too sidetracked,
Yeah.
because it is, the homeless issue is a big thing, and it's a topic, and definitely doing the reach out and everything, but I think, I want to make sure that I come leaving knowing what this whole meeting's all about, in a sense, so,
Yeah.
hopefully I didn't offend nobody, but I just wanted to
No, I
kind of get
appreciate it.
everybody back on track, I guess you could say.
Yeah, thank you, Bob. Yeah, no, basically, the message is that we want to organize folks to attend tomorrow, to speak their truth, share what are their priorities, share what you feel about the censure. Try to get people there. Like I said, this could be part of getting more people involved in government. And that's what we need. We need more eyes watching folks and sharing resources. But that's basically the intent of this meeting.
Now, they want to censure you, so do they have specific reasons that they've given you for censuring you?
Yes, and I'll print it out, but basically it's, because I posted on social media a video where I put a caption, "Do you have trust?" about Margaret de Rigo. That was one of them. The other one is I called Aurelio Salazar a mentiroso during the rent stabilization meeting. That's one of the reasons. The other reason is I wear a city logo shirt sometimes on my social media and sometimes on uncity related business. I don't know, maybe when they have lunch. They didn't give me specifics on that one. And then a lot of them have to do with the social media. One time I posted about Aurelio Salazar that he works for Catholic Charities.
Right.
And I posted like a satire post, like, because he helps the most vulnerable people. So I said, like, do you get a raise from all the people you hurt? As a, you know what I mean? It's like, it's satire. Maybe not everybody understands that, but it's ironic that the guy helps the most vulnerable, but then is voting to get more clients, right? So that's one of the reasons for the censure. What else?
He's applying.
But it's related to my social media.
Is there any, I feel like, are you expecting that there's some kind of, like, defamation, that there were, like, some lawsuit that's gonna come your way? Or I'm just kind of, my biggest concern is, like, what are you expecting that the worst case scenario, what they're gonna dump on you?
I think it's mostly political because if it was defamation, then they should send me a cease and desist and then tell me something's wrong. Because defamation, and first, elected officials, almost you can almost not sue. So you can say whatever you want about me, just about, unless it's done with malice and it's factually incorrect. But they're not gonna sue me because there's nothing, I haven't said any lies about them. So I don't know what recourse they may have. I think that their hope was that if they did this, I would just stop. So I don't know. As a city, as individuals, they can't sue me for defamation.
Okay.
Yeah, and as a city, that'd be a bad move for a jurisdiction to do that.
I want, now that you said
But
that,
me, who knows? They said a lot of things that aren't true, so.
Sink the ship.
what I tried to explain to one of the city councilmen that I had spoken with was that, by them doing the censor, it actually paints the other council members in a negative light, that they're trying to silence the one person that we depend on, the one person who has the truest voice that gives it to us straight, and they're trying to stop that. What is the backlash to that consequence? Are they gonna stay in office like that?
No.
And so I'll just be honest, one of my frustrations, I thought, because Jose Luis Barajas finished his statement with North Salinas deserves better, District 5 deserves better, Salinas. My constituents have not called for my censure. The residents of Salinas have not called for my censure. I have one email from a gentleman named Mark Dieroff. Not one email, sorry, 30 emails.
Oh.
He sent like 30 emails. And then Audrey Wardwell is the only other person who is the property manager.
But she's not from your district.
She's from Carmel Valley. Those are the only two people that have called for my censure. And actually, Audrey Wardwell, when she called for my censure back in June, listed me calling Salazar a mentiroso, which makes me think, those are the people probably pulling the puppet strings for some of these folks. But we'll see. Yeah. But anyways,
Does anybody else want more?
Oh yeah, water. Cooking waters. But any other questions?
I
Oh,
have
I do have, I'm sorry, real quick, before I ask more questions. So the city, I received an email because I did have, so I was not getting a response from the city as far as protocols or time or anything, so I had to hire an attorney of my own. Because they weren't telling me if I was gonna be able to present evidence, how much time I was gonna be allowed to speak, so I had to hire an attorney of my own. And that's how I found out how much time I would be given, when it would be held, all this kind of stuff. But the city attorney, or Donahue, or whoever's the one pulling the string, did say that I'm not allowed to show the videos of my accusations. So, it doesn't make sense to me that if it's their own evidence for me, that I cannot show it. So today I had a meeting with the city manager and I told him that I will be showing the videos, but they told me I'm not allowed to. So, my wife and I think Wes and some other people gave me an idea. So in case you don't want to make a public comment, or maybe you have people who can go, but don't want to say anything, originally I was going to get a projector and project it myself, but it seemed more like a production than anything. So a friend of mine said, well, why don't, oh, my wife said this, put it on an iPad, or Wes did too. And so I put just a couple of the videos because I don't need people. They can all watch on my YouTube. But in case there are some people who just don't want to make a public comment, I do need 6 people that would go up to the podium and during their public comment. I already have them prepped. All I got to do is push play. And, oh, this is one of the reasons for my censure real quick.
I'm here talking about the rental ordinance removal that the city council members have decided to take away. I feel personally betrayed from this because I work for Jose Luis Barajas. He talked to me about his background, his culture, how his parents were immigrant workers that eventually were able to build his business from working in agricultural businesses. My parents personally were agricultural workers. They're renters. They are being affected for what he voted, which is to repeal the ordinance that are being in place. This for me is a betrayal. When I talked to him, he told me how he wanted to do rent stabilization to help immigrant workers. He himself told me that he was from Mexico. For my part, this is not something that I worked for. I canvassed door to door. I helped him get his position in the council member, and now I just see his actions, and they're not what he told me they were gonna.
So this is actually one of the items listed in my censure. This video that I misrepresented his position on the censure.
But she's the one that said everything.
But she's the one who said it.
Well,
Okay, so I'm like, so I'm now, yeah, I posted the video, but the girl said it. She worked for his campaign.
yeah.
So he says I misrepresented. Well, here's the thing. He never actually stated his opinion on rent stabilization prior to his election. You know, they kept that all. So anyway, so basically there's six videos. They're only 1 minute because I don't know if the mayor's going to give you more than a minute. So since I can't show them, I figured maybe there's some residents who might be willing to go over there and play it during public comment, so at least the public can see it. Because they're going to be, what's going to happen is they're all going to give these epic speeches that are going to be crafted for political messaging, and then that's what's going to be shown.
I hope I hear that.
And the people who will watch the YouTube or the public access, because people can watch our account, is a different demographic than people who are on social media. So those people are also voters, maybe the seniors who are watching or things like that. So they will just hear all these words without seeing any evidence. So if there's 6 people here, or if you know 6 people you can get, I'd like to show at least some of these, and then.
Where would they show? Where would they show?
So when they go up to the, right here in Joey's.
Say the podium.
Yeah, they go up. The mayor's going to call for public comment.
And then I would be able
Yeah,
to.
you would.
There's a microphone.
Yeah,
You
there's
just
a
put it right
microphone.
next to the microphone.
And then you would just face the council and just play the video. Because what's going to happen is it's going to be recorded. And then when you're making a public comment, they put it on the big screens. So that would be it. And these are already programmed. There's 6 of them. They have numbers, so I made it easy. And then that's it. You know, they can make a public comment. These only last 1 minute. The videos, I clip them in 1 minute sections. And then if they want to say something after a minute, they can. But I need some folks to do this because I don't want to. My fear is that if I do start to do a projector, maybe who knows, the mayor might call the police or might get messed up. Who knows?
But they can't do nothing to.
No. Your 2 minutes or your 2 minutes or your 1 minute, right? So I cut these into 1 minute. So if anybody knows 6 people that might want to just push play on a video, I could use them.
You just walk up and just Put it there.
Yeah. You can do all 6, you think?
One? I can do one.
One, yeah, okay, I'll get you one. Yeah. So, I need that. Unless you have any questions, comments?
Not at this moment, no.
No. Yeah, so hopefully I can count on all you guys' support tomorrow. And let me get you guys, I do have buttons. I made buttons because I thought this is a pretty historic event. Also, I want to show the city council, it's not a serious event.
Did you
It's
make
not.
some hats? What's it look like?
I don't have that ag money, Bill, sorry.
I'm excited to see the button now.
But let me get some buttons. And Joey, do you have anything you want to share?
Yeah, real quick, so the thing that I printed out for you is just kind of a guide to help if you haven't made public comment before. Sometimes, some of the language they use is their language, and there's not a real good explanation for how you do public comment. I was fortunate enough to go through a class where they taught us how to do public comment, and now that I understand the rhetoric or the language that they use, it's easier for me to follow along. This right here just kind of goes through what most city councils do, not our city council. Our city council does things a little more differently than others. But this is just a kind of a guideline to the language that they use in the procedure. It is very simple, but in case you didn't know how to address the people on the dais, that they all sit on a dais, right? And it's the council members, the city attorney, the city manager, and the mayor. So just in case you need help addressing them, or if you need help putting together your thoughts, I can help you do that as well. If you have an idea of what you want to say, just let me know ahead of time, and I can sit down with you. And the thing is, we got to put it together in like a minute or a minute and a half, because Donahue doesn't like to let us go longer than the minute and a half of most situations.
Kids wants to go home.
Because he wants to go.
Oh my.
So again, if anybody needs help, just come and see me afterwards, and I'm more than happy to help you out and be able to get the thoughts that you want said to the city council.
And Marisol, would you like to share a few words?
I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I second Joey. It is kind of hard to get up there sometimes. My voice starts cracking and I start shaking. But we are definitely here to help anyone who wants to help craft a statement, or if someone's interested in having a statement written for you guys, we can help with that too. It's up to all of you. We just are hoping that all of you can support us there tomorrow.
And invite others. Honey, did you want to say anything?
Keep going. Keep fighting.
Yay.
I think I would just have to say, there's a lot of, I work at a high school, and I get to hear sometimes the kids are playing his videos on Instagram, and I'm like, not a lot of kids know or knew that he's my husband, because I don't talk about it. A lot of the staff and teachers didn't know either, until he came to some of our kids' activities that they've recently been in, and I would be like, oh, you stay over there. Just because I didn't
That was right.
not in a bad way, it's just, to me, I just didn't want questions, because I didn't want it to, I just didn't want to get political at school, because I try not to do that. But sometimes I hear his videos and the kids are playing it, and now that a lot of them do know that he's my husband, they'll be like, Miss Sandoval, what is he saying right here? What are they doing? What are they talking about? And so I'll explain to them. Last year we had a lot of students who were very interested in politics, the presidential election, and they're listening, they're paying attention. These kids in high school, it's all over social media, and they're watching you. So what I have to say is, being around all of these teens, don't stop, because if they see you back down, what kind of hope are you going to give these kids that are watching? So don't stop. Our kids are watching, don't stop.
Yeah, and it's so interesting. No, but there was a student who mentioned something, I guess, and this happens, not just with a student, but this one other gentleman too also mentioned that on a weekly, he would go home with his dad, who was like 86 years old, and the dad somehow came upon my reel, but they were all in English. And so he would sit with his son and have coffee, and he'd be like, I can't diciendo este, and it happened with a student as well. And so if you notice some of my videos, I've been trying to do my best to make in Spanish, or at least put captions. So all those things are reminders of, I'm a big, I understand, I mean, as a first generation here, I interpreted for my parents, and I'm always pushing for those things, but even I forget sometimes to make videos in Spanish or put captions, so, and that's another, there's a lot of initiatives that I'm trying to push our city to do, but anyways, I appreciate that. If there's not any other questions, yeah? Or comments?
No, just reach out.
I just, at my age, I have come to the conclusion that conventional ways of doing things is a program. And it draws you away from what I call your divinity. And your divinity is full of creativity and it's full of potentialities. So when I'm gonna go out there and say something, it's gonna be organic. I don't want to abide by conventional way of doing things because I don't want to be part of a system that's designed to imprison us with conventionalities, rules, and regulations and laws. I just want to throw that out.
Yeah, and the way Demetrio communicates is very good. I remember your last public comment where you said, I saw a homeless man wandering, and then I can't remember the whole context, and he looked lost, and then he said, and that reminded me of you talking to the city council.
Yeah.
Can we use unhoused instead of homeless?
Right.
Unhoused, if we use that, I think that
Yes.
so people.
Yes, that's true.
The homeless thing is kind of like.
Yes.
The statement is used, unhoused.
I'll give you another one, address lists. They only become homeless when the city comes by and says you can't have it, and now it's ours. And so the dumpster people get paid, Smith and Enright, the landscaping company gets paid, and the police get paid. All three of those people get paid, while everyone else gets poor. But they're address lists.
So so anyways, thank you everybody for coming, and I'll be around if you guys have any questions or comments, or you want to get more buttons if you think people will go. And then, Carrie, any final thoughts? Oh, by the way, Carrie is gonna, if you guys, tomorrow, maybe after my censure, we can sing Carrie happy birthday.
I have to go to city council and come him on my birthday.
Wait, can we sing her happy birthday here?
Now.
Let's do it now.
Let's do it now, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Carrie. Happy birthday to you.
23.
57.
57.
Eso.
Thank you, Carrie.
Yes.
Yeah, and Carrie's so gracious to let us use her center for all kinds of things.
Thank you, Carrie.
We will put them in their place
Thank you.
and tell them what we're on.
Stop fibbing. Stop fibbing.
Now, what's the word for liar again?
Mentiroso.
Say it again.
Mentiroso.
You could say they're a liar that pants on fire.
There you
And
go.
just so you know, I didn't call him a mentiroso. I said, man, the only word I can think of right now is mentiroso.
Well, that's how we interpret it.
For the record.
Can I just add one last thing?
Yes,
Just make sure you continue to balance, and I think you've been doing a great job. And what I mean by that is that I know you've been bringing up a lot of issues. My only thing is that, my concern is that I've seen that before, and I'm not gonna say what council, it happened years ago, where it was just constantly issues after issues. And it was just like, is this guy even serving your district? I'm not saying you're not doing that. I've actually posted up events that, there's these vendors events, there's these other things. I just wanna say, while you're going through these times of where they're, pretty much trying to censor you, and you're in a fight to make sure that you still are showing your district that I'm here, I'm still supporting, and this is not going to affect. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and that balance.
That balance.
Yeah, and that's something I pride myself in, is being able to help those organizations or things like that. So I will balance that. Thank you. Yeah. All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.